never, given an opportunity to study. You see, the educational progress of even young girls in that region was at a very low ebb because most of them were removed from school. Another thing that came out because we listened to narratives was that, you see, girl children were sent to Marathi medium schools, whereas male children were sent to Kannada and English, not much of English though, Kannada medium schools. So much so that the Marathi, why were girls sent to Marathi medium schools? They said they don't require either Kannada or English because they are going to go away, get married. Why do they need to learn a language which has no meaning in their lives? In schools, they fared badly. This came out when we talked to teachers, gave their narrative accounts of school experiences that, these kids, in one particular, many schools there, not just one, it so happened that because they did not know Kannada, which was the medium of instruction in many schools, those who had passed grade 4 were pushed back into first standard because they didn't even know how to write the alphabets. They felt humiliated, insulted, sidelined because these little children laughed at them. So this is coming out, I'm sure, in the course of other discourses in this conference. Language as a root of marginalization must be discussed. What are we going to do about this? Are we going to translate? Are we going to have books written only in a particular language? Or, we create a pool of resources in the local language which becomes an empowering tool of narration. Now, I would like to end my talk by saying that narration is social action. So why do I think that narration can be a source of social action? What makes sociological narrative research, as sociologically relevant is that when a researcher uses narratives as lived experience, it puts the researcher in a situation of interaction with the narrator. One example which I may give and then close is, see what this research team found when working with people in forest regions was that they had absolutely no information about what was there in their region and what was not there. Because we started our researchers by using the participatory model, by inviting people to talk, by inviting people to tell us. It was not the team as an outsider going and imposing its views. Whenever we decided to call them, ask them, what is it that you expect from us? I remember one such meeting where a primary school teacher, he said, give us, he said it in his language, but what he meant was an infrastructure map of this taluka because we don't know anything that we have. So using local communities who were called community researchers by my Canadian partner, we created an infrastructure profile of the entire region, which I notice is used as an empowering tool. Well, when you may raise a question, is this pure sociological classical research? This job could be done by anybody. But I think sociology comes into the picture when deciding what questions do you ask and what questions you don't ask. So this sociological discourse from a different angle, trying to locate an alternative discourse, helped us to create this profile. And today, this profile that was created by the research team, and I must clarify, research team did not include a single person from outside because it was a local language which became the narrator's tool to identify all those, areas that the team had identified as relevant for creating an inclusive, empowered community. So when people came to know certain basic, simple truths about the region, they started negotiating. They started, protesting, because I think narrative methodology is also a method of protest. So they started protesting, they started negotiating, they started, asking questions with the powers that be. The powers that be, when I say that, I mean political, social, economic power. These were, looting the forest because people did not even know what belonged to them and what did not. So when information was created, it was done both in the local language and in English for documentation purposes only. People realized their strengths, their limitations, gaps. And so I want to say that sociology is not just about one way of thinking, talking, acting. And I believe that sociologists must be proactive. Sociological research, yes, I have great respect for theory, but how you convey it to the people, how you use theory to reinterpret narratives, or how you use narratives to reinterpret theory is very, very important. So in my short discourse, only want to say that the narrative method, whether you call it storytelling or whether you call it irrelevant talk, nonsensical talk, or all those strong words are used by many people, whether you consider it serious research or just one of those researchers that's very easy to do, all those I want to put apart. I'm not glorifying narratives as the only alternative discourse, nor am I saying that theorizing using a certain kind of language is to be completely rejected. I think that sociology, sociological discourse, alternative sociological discourse must use a middle path which ensures that people feel included and empowered as a result of research. Thank you very much for listening to me.